to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
So you have a really exciting job and a unique experience. So tell our viewers what you do and what your background is.
Okay, so a little bit of my background. It all started in 1985 in Honduras. Honduras is a small country in Central America. And I started my aviation path in Honduras, in the Honduran Air Force.
How popular was aviation in Honduras?
Well, there were two ways that you could get into aviation in Honduras. You either, have a rich dad who pays for all your flight training, sends you to the U.S. to, so you become a pilot. And number two is that you join the Air Force, right? And they'll pay for your training, but keep in mind you have to stay, for a certain period because they paid for your training, so you have to stay.
You owe them some time.
You owe them some time. So that's how it started. I did well in my pilot training, and I came to the U.S. to get pilot training with the Air Force. Then I went back to Honduras, and I did counter-drug operations and maritime patrol and all sorts of fun things.
That sounds exciting and dangerous.
It was fun. It was fun. It was exciting, sometimes dangerous. And then especially when you have a family, my wife, Kathy, and it came to a point where it was way too unsafe for me to be in active duty as a pilot conducting those operations. And eventually we decided that the best move for us was to just take our things and move to the U.S. So that's how we ended up, here in the Fresno area.
You were like
Central Valley.
Stopping drug trade. Like, how was it when you say about drug operations? What was your job doing that?
Yeah, well, if there is an airplane that doesn't have permission to fly over certain areas, those airplanes get, we call it intercepted.
So you had to do that.
So we had to intercept these airplanes, and there's a whole process that goes along depending on, the type of operation and, the intentions of this airplane.
And as they find out it was you that intercepted it and lost thousands of millions of dollars bringing drugs to the U.S., it's a big deal. Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's super exciting. But no, no wonder Kathy said you can't do this anymore. Like, you have to go. And that's why you guys had to kind of move away?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You were afraid people were going to find out it was you that...
Well, actually, some of our names got leaked to the cartel, and a drug runner from the area where we lived in approached Kathy. At the time, I only had Caleb, my oldest son, and he made a subtle threat. But we all understood.
You all knew at the end of the day what the threat was.
We all knew at the end of the day, yes. So that's when I decided, hey, you know what? I'm not playing this game anymore, and I'm moving. I'm quitting the Air Force altogether. I'm moving to the U.S. Let's start a new life. I have, valuable skills that transfer over in any country. And Kathy, my wife, she's very talented.
She is. I just thought she made bread. I didn't know all this backstory. This is so cool.
Yeah. And so we decided to make the move to the Central Valley. I came first.
Did you know anybody here? Like, why Fresno?
Well, my parents lived in Clovis at the time. So it was a little bit of a plan. It's like, okay, we're gonna move in here. It's better to have family nearby. It's good to have,
especially when you have young children. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was the main driver on getting us to the Central Valley, and then we just fell in love with it, and we decided to stay, and here we are.
And then she just got out of the Air Force, like, boom. Well, did you lose things? Don't you build up where they get like pay for, like, did you lose everything because you gave it up?
Yeah,
like,
basically is like start over from square one.
Oh my gosh.
So I came to the U.S. I drove an Uber vehicle here in Fresno, out there in the Bay Area. I lived in my car for a couple of months, and it was challenging.
So you came first?
I came first.
And then you brought, okay.
And then the whole process, it takes forever. And it took about 3 or 4 years to get them finally here.
Wow.
to the U.S. And then
How
about 3 years ago,
stressful. Did you get to go visit them or they came to visit you?
I will go. Well, the main reason I decided to do Uber is because I could be my own boss, and I needed the flexibility to be able to just jump on an airplane and go there in case of an emergency. So I would go every 6 months, give or take.
Were you scared to go
And
back
then-
though, that the cartel was going to be like waiting for you?
Well, at the time, they already knew that I was out, so I was less of a threat. So
Okay.
they left us alone.
That's good.
Because again, they do their own calculation if it's even worth it to to get their hands dirty at some point. Now, if I was inside and causing them trouble with the amount of money that they were making,
Oh, yeah.
of course. But then, if I wasn't an issue anymore, they were just busy doing managing their own business. Yeah.
So if you did Uber 4 years later, so how did we get back into aviation?
So when, as I was driving Uber, I remember I will tune the radio to whatever radio station, and then on my headset, I always had aviation podcasts going on.
Nice.
Just looking for different opportunities. There was this podcast about aviation careers, and in that podcast, they talked about the Reedley College and their aviation program in 2018. So I decided to come back to Fresno. I talked to my parents about the program, and I paid them a visit. It was like, hey, this is my experience. I have this training, and I want to get back into aviation.
Oh, they probably loved it. You're probably like came really qualified.
Yeah, and then that's when the program coordinator at the time told me, well, you want to take these classes, but you actually meet the requirements and you have the skills to teach these classes, right? So he got me connected through Valley ROP. That's a program that operates out of Sanger, where we have high school students who take introduction to aviation classes. So aviation history, drone operations, careers in aviation, and some of the knowledge that private pilots will need to have, right? So I started teaching those classes. Then I did quite well with the students. I had good reviews. And that evolved into a position teaching ground school courses with the college students. And then that led to one of the summers, the program coordinator wanted to take some time off, and he wanted me to cover for him. So he taught me the trade, all the dealings inside of the college, and how do you manage financial aid, and how do you manage, aligning veterans to get opportunities and training. And that evolved into the situation where we are right now, and I'm the program coordinator for the flight science program.
Wow. So how long did it take when all was said and done for you to get to that point?
Well, it started, I had that conversation with the program coordinator in December 2018. And then in January 2019, I was already teaching. And then on the following year, I was already doing some administration. Now, keep in mind, we had COVID in 2020.
That's what I was going to ask you. I wondered how that affected it.
Oh, that threw another wrench into the system.
Oh, no. You finally get everything going.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm somewhat comfortable. I think I know what I'm doing. And then COVID hits, right?
Oh,
so
no.
all the procedures change. And now we have, remember, we're doing flight training. So we are in close quarters with students. And we had to manage all the policies of the college, maintain certain distance on ground school classes, typical class environment. We had to pivot some classes to hybrid mode online.
Right.
But then the flight training, like how do you do
There's
flight
no
training?
way,
There's
really,
no
right?
way, right? So yeah, and we navigated that. We pushed through it. Fortunately, we have a couple of cohorts that have been successful, and some of my students that I taught the first time about 3 years ago, they are already flying with the airlines.
I bet they love it, huh?
Oh, they love it. They love it. There's no pilot in the world, or at least that I know of, that just ended up flying an airplane. All of them, They're very passionate about it. And I think you know a couple of pilots or some people that are related to aviation. That is, it's a labor of love, and it's very challenging, but at the same time, it's worth it. For a person who has a passion for it, I think there's no better career than aviation.
Okay, so tell me the difference, because like if you want to become a pilot and people get private flight lessons and everything, they go that route. So if you go to City College, if you go to Reedley City College, it's like just taking a regular college course. So that seems like it would be a lot cheaper than becoming so what's the difference? Why would anybody ever get private lessons and they can just go get a degree? Or like what do you guys offer at Reedley?
Well, our program goes from no experience to being a flight instructor, a certified flight instructor in 2 years.
2 years, okay. It's a 2-year program.
It's a 2-year program. They also get their associate's degree, so that helps them.
And you're just paying regular City College prices, right?
They are paying regular Reedley College Community, Reedley Community College tuition.
Okay.
But then there is an aspect of the flying lessons, right?
So the
flying lessons, that's an additional cost. So typically, flight training for a similar program, I've seen a couple of programs in the nearby area, like in the valley, and it goes from $90,000 to $120,000. Now, because Reedley College, we're basically not for profit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So our program is the same training and the same ratings for $60,000.
Oh my goodness, so worth it. And then also you can get student loans to do it too,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So pretty much if you want to do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it, because anyone can apply for a student loan and you can become a flight
instructor. And then being a flight instructor, that typically is going to be your first job as a pilot, because the airlines, there is a law that was passed in the mid-2010s about minimum experience for the pilots. So if you're going to be flying for an airline, you need to have 1,500 hours. Okay, any flight training program will take you from no experience to about 270 hours. Okay, there's a gap in between, right?
Yeah, that's a big gap.
It's a big gap. So that's why we add on the flight instructor course, so students are able to get their first flying job. Because typically, we always need flight instructors, because now there's a shortage of pilots in the airlines. So as soon as they hit 1,500 hours, they're getting picked up by the airlines right away.
Right away.
So
you don't even need a 4-year degree to do all this. It's just 2 years, and then boom, you're wow.
Actually, one of the legacy airlines that has always been really, really hard to get into is Delta Airlines. And they had on their parameters, hey, you need a bachelor's degree. They dropped that requirement, because all you need is the training, the experience, and they'll train you on the day-to-day operations, flying the airplanes. And remember, if you have a program where you have not just the training, but that certificate that will allow you to find that first flying job, so then you can go into the airline, is huge. And all of the students who wanted to, who graduated from the program and wanted to work with Reedley College and getting students, I was able to hire them, because I'm always hiring for new flight instructors.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and this is an opportunity. This is an opening.
It's a big opportunity, because most colleges don't have an opportunity where you can get a job with them like that right away.
Exactly.
And then you build that relationship. You already know kind of how they are as students. You know pretty much.
Exactly. And actually, as part of my path in aviation, I remember I identified this student, right? Like, he was very disciplined and attentive to detail. I'm like, yeah, this student, he's gonna do great things. And then later on, when I was working on my own certificates, for starting flying again and everything, I told him, it's like, hey, you were my student on, I think it's like 3 or 4 courses, And I told him, it's like, I want you to be my flight instructor. And then the roles reversed, right? And
Wow.
now he was giving me feedback on flying procedures, and every once in a while we'll have a debate on the theory, and it made for a very pleasant experience because I knew that we trained them well, and I was very pleasantly surprised that they were training other people, keeping a very high standard. So that's always good.
And then what's the likelihood of how many people like went through and kind of like, oh, this isn't for me and dropped out? What's the ratio of something
You'll
like that?
be surprised. There's a lot of people who realize that there's a lot of work that that is involved in
Before you get to the fun
flying.
stuff.
Before you get to the fun stuff, you need to learn, and the level of learning, you can take a college course and recognize an answer on a test. Okay, that's level 1. When you're able to explain it back to the instructor, that's level 2. When you're able to apply that information into a changing environment, the engine is making noises and the tower is calling you and you're moving, at 100 miles an hour, and there are other airplanes in the vicinity, and you need to take action on the knowledge that you have. That's another level of
Wow.
learning. So one of the challenges that we had is when students come from right out of high school, sometimes it's a little bit of a shock for them because they were not expecting the how hard is flying the airplane is the easy part. It's just all the background knowledge that you have is the challenge. So right now, we typically start with a group of 15 to 20 students, and then when we get to the private pilot certificate, we've dropped 5 or 7 students by that time, and then that's a good. It's like a filter.
Wow.
And then from that point on, the students are way less likely to drop out of the program.
Once they make it to that point.
Yeah, because now they're having a lot more fun in the airplane. Now they know that they can do lots of things, and now they have a private pilot certificate. So with their private pilot certificate, they're able to fly for fun. They're able to take their family on a trip if they want to go, I don't know, to the coast. If
Wow.
they want to go anywhere, they're able to do that, and they're able to rent an airplane and fly it around. So at that point, they kind of fall in love with aviation, and they're way less likely to drop out of the program. Now, the training continues because you get your private pilot certificate in the first 2 semesters. Semester number 4 is in the summer. We don't take any breaks. My students are flying right now as we speak.
Love that. Love that.
And they fly all around the state by themselves. A lot of the flights have to be by themselves, so they're soloing a small airplane all the way to Reading and Sacramento and you name it. And after that, they get their instrument rating. That's what allows them to fly inside of the clouds, in like really bad visibility conditions. After that, they get their commercial pilot certificate. And after that, they get their flight instructor certificate. So there you have.
So you have to wait for
2
some
years.
bad weather too.
Well, there's a way that we can simulate for that.
Oh, okay, cool.
So there's this special goggles. There's like sunglasses, like really big, but the clear part is just like this big.
Oh
So
my
like
God.
they're not able to see outside, or
Wow.
or they wear we call it a hood. So they wear this device that obscures their visibility outside of the airplane. So all they're doing, basically, with caveats, but basically departing the airport, navigating to the new airport, or coming back and almost landing the airplane only by reference to the instruments.
Wow.
That's the instrument rating. So it's very exciting, but again, it's a lot of learning. So a lot of the students feel like, hey, this feels like I'm learning to fly again, but they've been through that challenge already. So it's really, and it's basically a requirement for any pilot who works in the aviation industry to have that instrument rating.
Well, it seems really like a really small group because you said that there's only like about 15 and 20 and then it tapers down. So are you guys turning a lot of people away initially that actually want to do this because you don't have enough space?
And usually I take 15 to 20 students on each cohort. And my limitation is because we're dealing with a lot of variables. So
I understand that.
I need to account for the amount of airplanes that we have available. We need to account for the amount of flight instructors that we have available, and then you throw weather into the mix.
Right.
You know, sometimes. Remember last year, I think it was, that the air quality was super bad.
Oh, yeah.
Visibility was horrible. So that threw, another wrench into the system. So that's the reason that the groups are somewhat reduced.
I'm saying sometimes people are going to get sent away. Not everybody that wants to be one.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And then the process to get enrolled into the program is you need to get your medical certificate. So there's like a special physical that you take, and is done by a doctor who's been trained by the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, and you need at least a third-class medical certificate. A third-class medical certificate will allow you to train, fly for fun, and basically train other pilots.
Okay.
Right? A second-class medical certificate, it's a tier over that, allows you to provide services as a commercial pilot. Think about business jet.
Okay.
Like a business jet pilot. And then the upper level, the first-class medical certificate, that's the one that the pilots need to work for the airlines. So typically what happens is that the students, hey, I want to go to the airlines. Let me go get the first-class medical certificate to see if I'm even,
Qualified,
if this is, even within the realm of possibilities, right? And after that, they need to send that medical certificate with the application to my email, and my email is jaime.luque-montes@reedleycollege.edu. An easier way to do that is if they Google Reedley College Flight Science.
Okay.
Go on the first link,
that.
and you'll get all the information right there. And also, I need to be able to, the students need to talk to financial aid.
Right.
Or if they are veterans, they need to talk to the VA certifying official and the VA counselor, because flying is a requirement for the courses, right?
Right.
So typically flight training is not covered by the VA, but then because in our flight science program, flying is a requirement for getting the associates, it is covered. So most, that big chunk of money that is the one-on-one flying lessons gets covered by the VA.
Thank you so much for coming on my show. This is, and it's such a great job. What's the starting pay for the average commercial flight?
So for a commercial?
For the commercial pilot, yeah.
Okay, so right now I just had a conversation with,
Nice.
Oh my God, this is so, SkyWest is hiring. If you are a pilot, if you have your commercial pilot certificate, multi-engine rating, starting pay is $90,000.
Nice.
Typically in the past, that has been a job that starts at $40,000.
Wow.
Now, the progression is typically you will go into the captain seat like about 2 years after. So first officer means like the co-pilot, what we typically know as the co-pilot. Okay, for a small airline. Now, when you upgrade to captain, we're talking about $140,000.
Wow.
And then if you want, then you can go to the big airlines and make even more money.
That is awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah, so I'm telling you right now, it's incredible, but a 10-year captain on United or Delta Airlines is making, about $350,000 or $400,000.
What a great opportunity. It's so cool we have this here in the Central Valley.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming on my show
All right.
today.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
This is really cool. So you started out in farming. I love
Yes.
your story. So tell our viewers a little bit about your background.
Oh, I am a fourth generation agriculturalist, which what that means in today's terms are that I was born in Selma about 1958, and at about 2 or 3 years, my mom and dad moved myself, my twin brother, and 2 older brothers from Selma to Burrell. Burrell is halfway between Highway 41 and Helm off of Elkhorn Avenue. So it had a 1-room schoolhouse where I went to high school or elementary
And
school.
what was the population?
Maybe 20 agricultural families that grew up in western Fresno County. So I grew up there until 3rd grade with a twin brother and 2 older brothers and a father who was farming with fellow neighbors. And at that time they were growing sugar beets and raisins and potatoes, and we were just like little kids growing up like Andy Griffith and Mayberry RFD. I mean, had no idea what was really going on. And at about 3rd grade, we picked up and my parents moved to the metropolis of Lemoore, which was a big, big shock coming from Burrell. And so in 3rd grade, they took my twin brother and put him in a different classroom and stuck me in a different classroom. And from about 3rd grade on, we grew up in Lemoore until my family relocated there last time back to Riverdale, which is kind of just south of Carruthers in Fresno County. And by that time I was in 7th grade, along with a twin brother, 2 older brothers, and a father that was very active in working in agriculture. And about that time, he was partnered with one of his buddies from Tulare, a gentleman named Leland McCarthy, and they started amassing large acreages, kind of like all over the Central Valley. And by 1968, 1969, I think I'm probably 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade or whatever. They've partnered with Prudential Insurance Company from the East Coast who want to develop 90 to 100,000 acres of varietal wine grapes to create the varietal wine grape industry, all kind of marketed through Gallows. So as a very young adolescent and into high school, I saw the creation of the varietal wine grape industry as an adolescent, sitting in the room but not participating, just observing. And during that expansion of ag here in the Central Valley, not only was the varietal wine grape industry built, but the basic building blocks for the pistachio industry, for the almond industry, for the table grape industry, for all the peaches, plums, and nectarines that are grown within 90 miles of Reedley, So over 400 different specialty crops. And because of being at the right place at the right time, working with a father and family members and other fellow family farmers, building these specialty crop empires, it was like Dallas. Remember the TV show Dallas? It was like airplanes, helicopters, jets, trips to Vegas, trips to Tahoe, trips to New York, trips to Australia. Just tremendous, massive creation of the most efficient food producing region in the world, right here between Sacramento and Bakersfield. And being a part of it, observing others, getting to know other families, and then participating in the build-up, the consolidation, and then the rebuilding over the course of my life has been a hell of an education. Now, how does that get me to CBD?
It's definitely like a leap and a jump a little bit.
The way that gets me to CBD is I describe to you the primary specialty crop markets and industries that were built and are currently maintained in the state of California. Those are mature markets. That means that all of the efficiencies, the scales of efficiencies, and the margins have been defined, and most of the players that are in those markets today are very well established, so the barrier to entry is extremely difficult. In 2018, Congress passed the Farm Bill that made it legal to grow that product in the state of California. That's cannabis. And as long as it's produced below 0.03% THC, it's industrial hemp.
Okay.
That is the difference between why I can grow cannabis and turn it into beauty and wellness products that contain no THC, as opposed to if I grew cannabis for the intent of producing THC, which is a different oil. THC is the intoxicant component of a cannabis plant, as opposed to cannabinoid being more of a medicinal pharmaceutical oil. So this has no THC because it's totally independent, different than what THC would be.
So this is the THC, this is a non or this has
This is cannabis. This is the plant.
This is a little bit though. This is a
plant.
tiny bit.
Has below 0.03%.
This has a tiny bit and this has zero. You're
Has
saying.
zero by the
Okay.
time it
That's
comes
what
out of the
little bit,
laboratory. Now, if I was growing in the dispensary business, if I was growing THC and I was going to sell regular marijuana to get you high or THC products, I would just grow a different variety of cannabis.
Okay.
This plant that I grew is genetically predisposed to not produce THC, but to produce CBD. Or another way to say that, this was a very undesirable variety for a THC dispensary to grow because it didn't produce any THC.
Right.
So they threw it in the trash can. They're growing a equivalent plant that I did, and the varieties that they're cultivating for THC today are 29 to 30% THC, not
Wow.
0.3, 30.
Wow.
So that is the difference between a THC variety of cannabis that's growing to produce THC as opposed to a variety of cannabis like I selected that was genetically predetermined to produce CBD, not THC.
So what's the difference for everybody that's confused on the difference? Why do people want CBD over THC?
THC is an intoxicant. It's an intoxicant just like alcohol is in vodka or alcohol is in beer. Beer has 3.5% alcohol, wine has 12%, and pure spirits have up to 40 or 50%.
Right.
So if we try to use an analogy of using the beverage, alcoholic beverage industry and THC, dispensaries that are growing a special kind of marijuana that is predisposed to produce not this, but its sister, THC, which is a different oil, which is the alcohol version.
Okay.
The intoxicant part of cannabis. So there's no intoxicant component in this variety of cannabis because it was predisposed to produce only 0.27% THC at full maturity, but 16% of CBD. If I were growing cannabis for a dispensary, I would want a variety that had the exact numbers reversed.
So, but why do we want CBD? Tell us the health benefits.
Okay,
that's
so
what,
now
that's
let's
what I'm
spin away from
yeah.
THC and say that these products are not intended to get you high.
Correct.
Nothing
Okay.
that I produce in this product line has THC. As a matter of fact, if we take the highest concentration of a product that I manufacture, this is called concentrate, and you'll notice it says 10,000 milligrams of CBD in 50 milliliters of oil. That's 2 ounces. So under that formulation, each drop is approximately 10 milligrams of pure CBD blended in organic olive oil. Now that would be for people that are wanting the highest concentration of cannabinoid that they can purchase over the counter, and because it's blended in organic olive oil, it could be consumed for those people that desire to treat chronic pain or inflammation or difficulties with sleeping or anxiety without getting intoxicated from THC as if they were to use a THC product. So this purest form of cannabinoid, blended only in organic olive oil at a dose that allows you to take how many milligrams you want per day.
So how many would you recommend for someone that wants to go to sleep and has some pain? How many drops should you? You should put the drops on your tongue?
Yeah, most people either put these drops directly under their tongue, or they may put them into a glass of water or an orange juice once a day. I mean, the National Institute of Health, as well as a lot of periodicals in the U.S. show that the average adult dosage can be anywhere from 50 to about 150 milligrams per day, depending upon your weight. And, you know, so I would say, what I tell most people, do 3 or 4 drops, 30, 40 milligrams, and just see how that goes for a day.
So do you take that at the end of your day?
You can do it either in the morning, you can take it at the end of the day. I mean,
But if it's supposed to help you sleeping, why should you take that in the morning?
The way this cannabinoid works in your body is it's absorbed by your endocrine system.
Okay.
So whether you take it in the morning or you take it at night, it's not as though you're taking it and then it's gone. Your body absorbs cannabinoid into your endocrine system, and as you take 30 to 40 milligrams consistently on a daily basis, then your body will start to exhibit the effects of the CBD in addressing sleep deprivation or anxiety and all the things that you're looking for. So it's not necessarily a direct cause and effect. If you're feeling right now anxious and you take a drop underneath your tongue, you're not necessarily guaranteed that the anxiety is going to go away within those 2 or 3 minutes. What my experience is, based upon the people that I've spoken to and the history and the science behind it, it has to do with building up a certain amount of this product in your endocrine system over time. And it's not about taking a lot, because the more you take isn't proportional to the benefits. It's your body can absorb 50 to 150 milligrams per day based upon your body weight, your body makeup, and your chemistry. So if you're taking excessive amounts of cannabinoid, CBD, in a pure form in an ingestible way, you're just wasting the CBD, because your body's going to absorb what it can.
Right,
and the balance is going to go out in your waste stream, and it's like, gee, I'm taking all this CBD, but I'm not feeling any difference. And it's been like 2 days. And it's like, maybe it might take 3 to 5 days by the time you start to see the transition. But it's not about how much you take as much as the consistency.
And so what are some of the stories your customers have told you about the difference that they've noticed? Because I know you've treated a lot of people with chronic pain. They come and they get your products.
What I find out with is that the majority of people that come seeking and investigating the benefits of cannabinoid are dealing with 2 types of pain. either an arthritic pain, a pain that is from arthritis somewhere in their nervous system, or they may have some kind of a muscular pain, and it could have been from a previous injury, could have been from a previous operation, could have just been from playing sports and they just twisted their ankle. So in our experience and in the medical sciences that are behind cannabis oil, one of its clinical benefits is its ability to reduce inflammation. So when we think about pain, whether it's arthritic pain, muscular pain, or athletic pain from overstrenuous activities, conventional wisdom says just go take 2 Tylenol. Just go take 2 Advil.
Oh, yeah.
Just go take something.
Oh, yeah.
And it will block that pain, right? In the CBD world, we're arguing not take those pain blockers, but in addition to those, or maybe rather than going to pain pills right off the bat, we offer some pain salves. We have a athletic balm, a nerve balm or a nerve salve, and a traumatic pain salve.
What's a salve?
A salve has the consistency
Oh, it's like lotion.
like a hand cream, like a firm
nice.
hand cream, okay?
Oh,
And
it smells good too.
Yes, and that particular product is primarily capsaicin from red chili and arnica flower oil.
Love it.
And that's where we take the synergistic benefits of a plant-based product that is manufactured in Visalia. Everything in these products are 100% plant-based. So I've recruited the help of a plant apothecariist who, with me, in combination with our cannabinoid tests, created recipes for each of these products to direct and specifically treat pain. This is for immediate pain, meaning I just did it, I'm swollen, I need something to make the throbbing go away. Our Deliver Nerve Pain salve is St. John's wort oil and triple frankincense.
Wow.
So it's got a totally different look, a totally different smell, and a totally different effect, where the first product was kind of capsaicin with warmth. This is the St. John's wort oil and triple frankincense, which is more of a cool formulation, but very effective in nerve pain. And then last, for people like you that are very active, probably at the gym 3 days a week, we have an athletic balm, which is a little firmer product, but it's actually got capsaicin from red chili, but it's also got black pepper essence and copaiba butter. So for that repetitive pain, like from working strenuously. So I've shown you 3 pain solutions that are leveraging the benefits of CBD.
And then this is the gummy version, kind of, right?
No, that's the pure CBD oil. Excuse me, just a
So do
minute.
we ever take, you don't sell this. This is just
No,
kind of what,
this
you're
is-
showing this is what we're pretty much ingesting.
I'm saying that we grew 25 acres of this raw flower.
Wow.
And that raw flower then gets sent to a laboratory that takes that flower, puts it into a stainless steel chamber, floods the chamber with alcohol, and the alcohol removes this from that.
Wow.
And
That's
so now
cool.
you have a solution of alcohol and oils that then go into a second piece of equipment that separate the alcohol away from the oil.
is
And
so
so then
awesome.
this is what's left. And then it goes through a process to test it for heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, so that it's pharmaceutical grade. And then that then becomes the CBD that is in all of these products.
So when do we know the difference between if we should be doing the drops or smoking this? How do we know what was right for us, and what's the difference?
My experience, and with the people that come to us, most people from about 30 to about 60 years of age are dealing with some form of kind of pain, anxiety, or difficulty sleeping. So if they're dealing with a chronic illness, a chronic disease, in combination with difficulty sleeping or dealing with anxiety, then we recommend them to consider ingesting this purest form of CBD, because
Okay.
now you're taking it internally, your endocrine system is distributing it amongst your body. For people that aren't necessarily having trouble with anxiety or dealing with a toxic illness, these massage oils that I showed you, the Relax and the Revive, these are 2,500 milligrams per 2-ounce bottle. This is the strongest concentration of topical that I have. And for example, this version is called our Revive. So it has a very nice peppermint aroma to it.
Love it.
And then I have this other version called Relax, which is kind of a citrusy version, both of them at 2,500 milligrams.
Oh, they smell great.
Now, this is the product that I recommend to couples, to people from 18 to 65 that basically are looking for a way to experiment with CBD without necessarily ingesting it, but getting a high enough concentration to where between them and their significant other, they can put a couple of drops on each other's shoulders at the end of the day.
Wow.
And all of a sudden when you get home and the kids are put to bed and all of that stuff's done, mom and dad, a couple of drops on their shoulder, and they're sitting there having a glass of wine and being able to just relax.
So when do you smoke this?
Most people I know that smoke industrial hemp come from the southeastern United States, where cannabis, THC, is illegal.
Okay.
So they're smoking this as an alternative to THC cannabis because it's not legal in their state.
Oh, wow. You thought of everything, didn't you? So where do we go to buy this? Do we have to just come and see you at farmers markets, or can we order it online?
You can order it online at Amaro, AMARO, CBD.com. We have a website. We're also selling at certified farmers markets throughout the Central Valley, in Hanford, in Fresno, in Visalia, and hopefully soon to be selling with some regional distributors. I have conversations in July and August with some big, but I can't say anything yet.
Oh my God. Well, that's why we have to follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, if you follow
Amaro.
me on Amaro.beauty.
Amaro.beauty on Instagram.
And Amaro.beauty on Facebook, and I'm also on LinkedIn on Amaro.beauty. So we're on all the social media platforms. We're a startup. We've been out and in business for about 14 months, and it's all about education. It's all
Thank
about
you
education.
so much for coming on my show today.
Oh, Sparkle, you're spectacular. Thank you very much.
Get myself a double. I look over and I see trouble, a long-haired beauty staring at me. Well, I slide up and ask her name. She tells me and does the same. Oh, you're looking like a dream. I ask her if she wants to dance. She says yes and grabs my hand, then pulls me out to the floor. And I said, hey boys, turn up the noise and play me something slow. Cause I've got one by my side and I'd sure like to know what it's like by the end of the night to have her lips on mine. Oh, I'm on one hell of a night. We get to moving, boots get to grooving. Some old boy thinks he's gonna move in on the one taking a shine at me. Well, this old boy, he grabs by the hand. He does her best to be her man. I guess he doesn't know, ain't going for that. Well, I ask him to step outside. He says, come on, boy, let's ride. Let's see if you got what it takes. And I said, hey, boys, turn up the noise and play me something fast. Cause I'm about to step on out and put him on his ass. He went down. We rode off, she rode away with me. Ooh, I like my pretty little country queen. What you gonna do, sugar, now that you're shotgun? Ride with me, you got a place that says fun. On down this old country road. I like your style and everything you're whispering in my ear. Hell yeah, baby, where you been? I've been looking for a long, long time. She said, hey boy, turn down the noise and keep it nice and low. Hold my hands, kiss my lips, there's something you should know. When I saw you early tonight, I knew you'd be mine. I wanna thank you for one hell of a night. I wanna thank you for one hell of a ride. Up. What's this feeling? It hurts, feels like fire. It burns my heart. Oh, my heart. Is it love? I don't know. Feels more like pain down in my bones. In my bones. I wish it'd been a lesson learned. I guess I need you more than I wanted to. I didn't want to face the truth. I wished you needed me too. Now it's a broken home. I'm the one to blame. I turn my back on you without a word to say. Girl, you're leaving, wasn't you? If there's just one thing I wished you knew, it's me. It's always been me. This wall that I built, it won't fall down. It just tilts enough to mess things up. I wish it'd been a lesson learned. I guess I needed you more than I wanted to. I didn't want to face the truth. I wished you needed me too. Now it's a broken home. I'm the one to blame. Turn my back on you. Let you walk away from love. Let you walk away from us. I guess I needed you more than I wanted to. I didn't want to face the truth. I wished you needed me too. Now it's a broken home. I'm the one to blame. Turn my back on you. And I let you walk away. I let you walk away. I let you walk away. My pride let you walk away.
Thank you for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me.
I've been trying to get you on here for a long time.
I know, I'm a slacker.
Well, I know you're very choosy, but like, you're very busy and stuff, so I appreciate that you gave us the time, because I know you don't do a lot of interview type stuff.
I
like this.
really don't. It's more because I get so nervous, you know? But I am pretty busy. I mean, I work for my family. Kids got sports, and that's usually number one. As a kids, you know, I mean, they get older, I don't want to miss that. And so I pretty much schedule everything around what the kids are doing.
That makes sense. And then the family business has been around for a while.
The family business started in 1986. My grandfather, my uncle, and my dad. I've been doing that since I've been a kid. So I've been welding ever since I can remember.
Wow. And then when did you find time to even play music?
Oh man, it was after I graduated high school. I couldn't hear growing up. I had reconstructive ear surgery, cochlear surgery in both ears as a sophomore.
Oh my goodness.
So, I didn't exactly play music. My great-grandparents did. They were really good friends with Bob Wills, who was an old, musician, one of the best. So they always tried to get me to play, but I didn't know much about it. So working on the road, I bought a guitar. This was before YouTube and all the internet business. So I bought a Mel Bay guitar book, and I just sat and learned chords and had to play and sing. And my friends hated it because all I could play was El Paso for years. And they were like, enough.
So when did you start writing your own music? Because it's really good.
Thank you. Oh, man. I started writing a while ago, and I've probably written, I've written way more that I hate than I do that I like. There's so many songs that are just trash and junk. And, when I started writing, I'll tell you a good way to find out if you got a good one. When the kids are young and you start playing something and they turn around or they start moving, you're on to something. But if they just want to watch Scooby-Doo and they don't care, change it up. There's no reason to go ahead with it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I know it's weird, but kids, they don't have any filters. They'll let you know if it's good or not.
That's very true.
Yes, they just go with it.
So what's the backstory behind the songs that you play here today?
I don't write personal songs.
So it's all just...
the way I do it is I write a movie in 3 minutes. That's how I want it to be. When I write, I can't see faces. I can see exactly what their skin texture's like, what they're wearing a watch or whatever it's going to be. I know what they do for a living. I know what their background is, but I don't know what they look like. I don't have
love
faces.
that, and I totally understand because I do a lot of poetry like that too. And everyone thinks everything's about something. Like, no, sometimes it's just a story. It has nothing to do with anybody at all.
And the way I write, I just pick up a guitar, I start playing and singing because I'm always on the hunt for the melody more than I am a message, right? Because you can have the most prolific message, but if you don't have a melody behind it, nobody wants to hear it. So I'm always on the hunt for the melody. And I may sing something, a word or a phrase will come out and I'll be like, man, that sounded cool. And I'll write around that whole thing.
Oh, that is so awesome. And so when you started getting good, you started realizing, okay, I sound good, I got something here. Who did you start collaborating with?
Oh man, it took a long time I drank a lot, I haven't drank in 16 years, but when I was drinking, everything, I was just trying to play and it was a wreck. It was terrible. Then I quit, and that's really when I started just writing songs and never really collaborated too much. It's hard to write with people. I've got a good buddy, Jay Adams. He was easy to write with, but other people, it's just, it's hard because I want to take a little more time and figure things out. I want it right.
Well, I know you've done bands and stuff.
Yes, bands.
So what's the story behind that?
So the bands, I got started in a rock band. I'd already had my kids. That was my first band ever. And it was heavy. I was a vocalist in a heavy band, which I'm a huge Pantera fan. They're my favorite. And so I went with that, but also George Strait is my favorite also. So I'm like, I love the heavy metal and I love country. And, the rock was going for a while, but the writing's different. It's way harder to write a country song than it is a rock song. A rock song is a riff. If you got a good riff that moves, people, they don't care what the message is. A country song is something, it's that movie in 3 minutes that you have to have. And it's so much harder to be that simple. I mean, people don't get that, but it is.
No, I feel
you've got to take so many words out and replace them. I mean, it's tough.
So when you had a band, how did you put them together? And is it always your music that you guys were playing when you had the band, the different bands?
Well, we play cover songs.
Okay, so it's a mix.
Yeah, because usually if we're playing, people want us to play for 3 hours.
Right.
I don't want to play 3 hours of my music.
Right.
I usually only like to throw a few of mine in because if you're playing a whole gig, unless it's a private show and that's what they're there for, I'll play my music, but I'm a fan of cover songs just like everybody else is. I want people to sing along and enjoy it.
Okay, so how many times when you've thrown out one of your songs there and you didn't say anything and then someone after says, oh yeah, I love that song, that's a great one, and then after they've heard it before, do you play on with that?
That doesn't typically happen.
Really?
They never say they like it.
No way, no.
But we just go right to the next song. So, we usually have our set list and it's, you know, high power, this is how we go, and you know, everything's formulated when you set that up for a show.
So how can we get you to play for us? I know you just kind of go to Bakersfield and play there. How do we get you to play? Do you play private parties, weddings? How do we get you?
Oh, you know, we were talking, well, my son, you know, he's young, 17, sounds almost identical, and so that's who I'm working on getting to play. It's a young man's game.
Well, go on tour, yeah, but I mean...
Yeah, but I mean, I want to write for him, and I want to manage him and let him do that. I've done it, and I've had fun.
And when you were touring, where did you guys tour?
A lot of Texas, Arizona, through Idaho, California. Texas was always cool. That was cool. And it was long runs, you know. It's a lot of work. It's not what people think. It's you get in, you set it up, you play, and you break it down, and immediately you're in your truck or a hotel room, and you're on the road. You know, it may be 3 hours down the road or 15 hours, but you're on the move. It's a constant deal, and you just get wore out.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's fun.
And where can we hear these songs, like the ones you play on the show today? Are they on Spotify? Where can we hear them?
Yes, the Turn Up the Noise is Spotify, iTunes, all those platforms. I haven't recorded the other one. Now I do have one coming out soon. Paying a little homage to some George Strait. He's the king.
So what's your favorite George Strait song?
Nobody in His Right Mind Would Have Left Her. Is my favorite.
So is that the one that's your go-to when you play at parties? Or concerts or events?
No, I probably play Troubadour. Troubadour from George Strait. You guys know that one. That's my favorite one right there too. I mean, but this one...
Have you met George Strait?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact.
Have you played for him?
No, I met him at a gas station in Tulare.
No way, how funny.
Yeah, it was cool. I just got off of work, and there's a couple of Harleys that pull off the off-ramp, and one of them has got a George Strait song just blaring, Check Yes or No, and they pull up kind of next to me, and you know, the guy in the front, he takes his helmet off, and I'm thinking, man, this dude looks like George Strait. What a trip. And so I'm just pumping fuel, you know, and I'm checking it out, and he's just, and I see they got Texas plates, and I'm like, Texas plates, man, I know I've seen this guy on television. Well, it was the ACM Awards the night before. So then he gets on his phone, and he's like, yeah, I'm in Tulare. And I'm like, I've seen Pure Country. Yeah, I know.
Way.
So I kind of out loud, I'm like, it's the man himself. And he, you know, he kind of turns
Why
around.
was he here?
Well, because they were in Vegas, so I imagine they wanted to just take a trip through California. So it was him, and I don't know if maybe his manager riding motorcycles through. So he came over, introduced himself. Super nice dude, too.
And you were a fan before. That's so crazy, though. That's just
Yeah.
random to be a fan, and then they're kind of like in your backyard.
Yeah, it was really strange. And so, you know, I got an autograph, and then back at that point, they had this AM station that played classic country, and I'm listening to this classic country. Well, one of his songs comes on, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna highway stalk this old boy, right? Well, this song comes on, and I rolled my windows down, and I'm cranking it, and I gun it out of there trying to show off. Almost hit the gas pump, kill everybody, and I was too embarrassed at that point, so I skated on out of there, but it was cool meeting him either way.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And so, what's your Instagram? Tell everyone so they can follow you.
_Gregor_Ross.
I've been following you for a while, and I love it when you do come up with a new song and you play it. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and it's hit and miss. Sometimes I'll have writer's block for 6 months, and then sometimes I'll write 3 in a week.
That's a creative. I mean, you're just a typical
so
creative.
I don't really push it. If I don't feel like writing, I just don't. I've been really focusing on just playing a lot of electric guitar, just trying to learn riffs and scales and stuff.
And so if anyone ever wants to hire you, basically you're unhireable. But we can hire your son.
That's what I'm working on.
Okay.
It won't be long because I've got the guys for the band. It's a band called Western Divide, and they play all the time. They're great. These guys really are. And so my son's been up there singing with me before, so he's used to it. He enjoys it.
Is there any concerts you guys kind of have coming up that we can go see?
Not at this point. No.
Okay.
I haven't really. I mean, I've just a couple of private shows in Bakersfield for some friends, but that's it. But on that Instagram, I'll let you know when that new George Strait song comes out.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
My pleasure.
to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here. Oh, I must confess, dear. Don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do. And there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend. Playing pretend. Playing pretend. Ooh, playing pretend.
It's a mystery.